You are listening to another Third Coast Nerds podcast. What do you say when you hear we're going to talk about Wonder Woman?
Come on, Robin. To the Batcave. We haven't one moment to lose.
She has accents?
No, I had to throw in a little tribute to the man.
Yeah, sad news this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really difficult to hear about Adam West. I think actually the first Batman for me was Michael Keaton. I think that's the first one I actually saw.
Yeah.
But the Adam West Batman was not far behind.
Yeah, because it was available to us.
It was on It was on Saturday morning movie or whatever all the time.
See, I remember the Adam West one because I was at our grandparents' house and it was like on AMC or something like that. Like they watched the shows that would like during August it was just Elvis all day, right? And so you had like the older shows on there because it had John Wayne and things like that, and I think it randomly popped up. So that's the first one I remember seeing.
Yeah,
is the Adam West one, and I was like,
it has
like
both
those
those
things, and that's cool.
Yeah, it was so forever ago that the streams get crossed. I don't know which one came first for me, but Batman was 89, and the TV reruns didn't really hit until Channel 20, like Paramount and 26 and things like that. So I'm not quite sure what era that started in. But yeah, that was on all the time.
Well, the grandparents had the cable, so in the summers we had TV Land and all those things, and there was definitely more Adam West on standard cable channels than there was on OTA.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do remember every once in a while you'd get them on like a channel you're not supposed to get.
Yeah.
Like one of like the 52. Or 56 or something randomly.
Hey, people talk shit about that channel. That channel was legit, okay? Every once in a while, 52 would come through, and you'd have some really good stuff on there.
Well,
yeah.
Weren't they the ones that had randomly had really good music videos at between 1 and 3, and then they were over? Like, it wasn't a show; it was just music videos. Like, instead of dead air, they're like, just put the music on.
Yeah. All the time, there'd just be something random that would be like, oh, this is eye-catching. There was also a TV station out of Beaumont somewhere that you could catch if the atmospherics were just right between the hours of 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. And that's where they have all sorts of late-night movies with they'd have Back to the Future, and there was a whole lot of Michael J. Fox. I wonder if they got a deal when they got Teen Wolf and all sorts of stuff. So it was good stuff.
I saw the post on Reddit that they're going to do the bat signal over L.A. in honor of him.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I really want to see how many Batmen show up for that. And if they're going to do it right, it's going to be in those costumes. Like, go buy some felt from the store and piece that shit together at home with some Elmer's glue kind of costumes.
And you better have a can of hairspray with a white label that says shark repellent.
Yeah. And the really weird shell mask that's 3 inches off your eyes.
I mean, you really have to go that route.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm kind of in the same boat. He wasn't my first Batman. With you, same era, that late 80s. I was 8, 9 years old, and that was my introduction. Was Keaton.
Yeah.
And then I think we got Clooney.
Clooney was in there. Val Kilmer was in there.
Yeah.
I remember when I got to go see. I think it was Batman and Robin. That was one with nipples, right?
Yeah. Well, I think Batman grew nipples in the mid '90s.
Yeah. I don't think Kilmer had the bat nipples,
No, he didn't
but I
have
think
them.
the bat nipples kicked in with Clooney.
It was Clooney because I had a huge cut on my foot. And they had to put stitches in. If I was good getting the stitches out, we'd go to the movies and watch Batman and Robin.
We go to the dollar theater.
Hell yeah!
If you're good, you can go see bat nipples.
Yeah.
But I think this was actually the real theater, not the dollar, because it just come out. Because we had the cups from McDonald's and everything.
Yeah,
nice.
I was like, yeah.
Do you remember the cups from Batman Returns that had the glow-in-the-dark frisbees on the lids?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So many of those lost.
One thing I did notice is I don't think a lot of people knew who he really was. I've seen so many people. My favorite movies were the one with Adam West as Batman. And it's like, there are none.
No, there was one.
One movie?
Yeah, there was one. Yeah.
He's
Batman
not
the
known
movie is what
for
it's
that.
called.
He is known for
The series.
the TV series.
Yeah.
And it's interesting kind of the dynamic. Most of the stuff that came out early, every post you saw from people on social media and all that, they were all pointing towards movies, and I'm like, dude, obviously I didn't remember the movie. It was
Yeah,
all the TV
they had a
show
TV
for me.
series, but they had a feature length movie with.
But it pretty much was the TV series.
Yeah, it was.
Like
It was just an hour and a half
long.
long.
Yeah, it was a long
Yeah.
episode. Because I mean, I remember the movie. I think it's called Batman the movie.
Yeah.
And it's literally like 3 episodes.
Put together with no commercials.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and it only covered, like, I think it actually has the same story as one of the episodes. So
Yeah, well, they like, when syndication kicked off, I'm sure they split that up into individual pieces and aired that as a TV show. But yeah, you had Batman the movie, 1966.
Well, and that's kind of interesting because a lot of us have gone back and watched those. Almost anything from back in the day. We've all seen the horrible versions of everything that came out first, second, the third time, the fourth time now.
Have any of you sat through the original Fantastic Four?
Yes.
You have with the construction
you
paper
have
arm.
To.
The construction
You have
paper arm.
to. And that's kind of my point. Is nowadays kids don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Like they don't have to go past the 80s if they don't want to anymore because there's so much content.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, there's some decent cartoons in the 80s. And then, you know, it's like a reboot after a reboot every decade now. And, you know, you can search Marvel on anyone's Plex server and you got content for days.
Yep.
So, you know, we had to go back and watch, you know, the original Battlestar Galactica and Next Generation and the old Batman and that kind of stuff because we didn't know when the next time we were going to see anything comic book related was going to come out. Now it's like
when you had to,
there's 3 more this year.
When you went to the video store and you just started at one corner of the Sci-Fi, the Sci-Fi rack, it just went through from start to finish.
Well, and I think that's also like one, we got the better of it because they're better, right? And then 2, it's also one thing that I like about it is like I remember going and we've talked about the store before, Video Max, right? We go there. And we'd find our Sci-Fi, right? Like the Body Catchers or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And you would rewatch those over and over and over again because there wasn't a ton of good ones. Like you would get that random one, you're like, oh, I'm never watching one that has that like look on the front of it again. That was horrible. So you had the replayability and you enjoyed it more every time. Whereas and the stories were a little bit more intricate. Like you could watch it and you watch it again, you'd get something new. Whereas now you watch it and it's like, okay, I got all of that. And kids don't rewatch it the same as we used to.
Like series that started on like HBO and things like that, like Tales from the Crypt. Each episode was like a mini movie.
Yeah.
And the stars,
Twilight Zone.
Yeah, Twilight
Outer
Zone when they
Limits.
rebooted that. Even the original 60s or 50s Twilight Zone was it 50s or 60s? It was black and white.
Yeah, and that's the problem. There's a lot of black and white ones, so you
Yeah.
never really know. And then they did that to you sometimes on the new ones, like, no color.
Yeah, and then they had the new series. Same thing with like Outer Limits. That 90s run of Outer Limits is phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
excellent stuff. And you have like a ton of stars in those things, man.
I don't remember what night it was, but there was
Yeah,
one
which
night a
stars then?
week that had X-Files, Outer Limits, and Tales from the Crypt on.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to go anywhere. I'm perfectly happy
it was
with
like
my
the
popcorn.
It was the Friday night Sci-Fi before Friday night Sci-Fi.
Yeah.
So
Well, they had that like every Friday night.
But it
They'd
wasn't
have
Friday.
Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Dark Side. They'd have something else. I can't remember what that other show was. It may have been Outer Limits. And then you'd have this show called Sightings.
Yeah.
That was like a talk show about like all the paranormal activity that would just like, well, I'm staying up tonight.
Oh, and then sometimes they try to throw that unsolved mysteries before it.
Yeah.
Like, we're just going to
Yeah.
try to get you guys because our music sounds a lot like what you're about to watch.
Nah.
yeah.
We're like,
No.
nah, we're going to go play basketball for an hour. We'll be back.
Yeah. It's Rescue 911. It's a current affair, and then the horror show starts. Don't mess with my mojo, man.
Oh yeah, there was always that time where the seasons change,
Yeah.
and you're like, man, they better not fuck up my program.
Mm-hmm.
Like
They throw a 90
Knight
minutes
Rider
in there.
and 21 Jump Street before noon.
Yeah.
Don't mess with that.
It was when they would mess with Mama's Family. That's when I would get mad. Because it used to be they'd have 2 episodes of Mama's Family, 9 to 9:30, and then all of a sudden they threw a monkey wrench in the works, and all of a sudden there's this new show. There's all of a sudden it's like Golden Girls or something like that. I'm like, oh, what the shit is this?
I like the way you reference Golden Girls as a new show.
Well, it would be a new show in that
Yeah,
syndicate, in that
line-
lineup.
yeah.
See,
And
I
then
didn't
it would come
understand.
on.
I didn't understand lineups for the longest, right? Because like we didn't have good TV. It was just you're like, oh, this is on every day. This at this time, or usually it was like every day it's on at this time,
Yeah.
right? And so like the first time they changed it, and Knight Rider went away, and I think they replaced it with like
Something less cool.
Yeah,
I'll tell
something
you
I
that
didn't
much,
even
right?
know.
That midsummer change, no, because I remember that they would have Knight Rider, and then like the midsummer, it would change like sometime around like late June, early July, and all of a sudden Gidget is on in the Knight Rider slot. You're like, oh no,
Yeah,
no.
my mornings were screwed.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what was before Knight Rider. 'Cause
But
you
when
always-
it went in order, when it was like in order from it hit Airwolf and then Knight Rider, those were good days.
Yeah.
Or Hercules, then Xena, and then they switched something else for Xena, and you're like, wait.
yeah,
When it had like the power block where it was like Cleopatra 2029 or something like that.
I think when I was watching it was like the A Team and then Knight Rider.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to remember
I
because it was
think there was a whole block where they had like all three on at once.
yeah, but you would, and then it messed up because you'd watch one and it was like Knight Rider just changed and they put like Matlock or something. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like I don't
Hasselhoff
no,
fell
it
off.
Was, it was
Right.
like Murder She Wrote. I think is what they threw
that's
in
even
there.
worse.
Yeah, because that was when like Murder She Wrote, and then you go because when you're at the grandparents' house, like that's on. You're watching it apparently,
Yeah.
and I'm like, no, there's got to be a channel with Knight Rider. Like they have to move it somewhere, right? It's like it's got to be somewhere.
Oh yeah, the good old days.
The good old days.
I
The
don't,
good
think
old
I don't even think I was 10 yet.
And now that you have a choice, no one really watches anything. You miss so many good things. Well, I mean, it's nothing to really complain about because we have such a glut of really good stuff right now
Yeah.
that you can't really complain. That's like the golden era of storytelling on TV.
I still complain every year. The same exact conversation happens at my house. Man, it sucks that these shows are ending. What am I going to do? And then it's like, for every 2 you lose, you get 1 back. So there's going to come a time when I'm not going to have anything. But I have everything that I liked up until that point to rewatch. So I'll be okay for a minute.
But are you preparing for the end of the world?
Yeah.
Are you printing out reams of flip books of Stargate?
Oh, I own the collector's edition box set.
What if you got
No power.
What if you have no power?
No power.
No power, no generators.
You got to draw it all from memory.
I can do that. I'm not a good drawer, but
EMP hits, solar flares, every
so
transistor. There we go.
There we go.
Transistor.
so I get some bubble gum.
And Matt and MacGyver it together.
I MacGyver it to watch MacGyver play someone else that goes through wormholes.
I'm thinking flip books. Flip books could come back.
Yeah. And you know what else? It acts as a fan.
Yes.
When there's no electricity, I'm going to want a lot of flip books.
Yep.
It entertains me, and I'm cool.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
I need storage. I got to start printing.
Gotta start printing,
I got a laser printer at the house. This is going to be great.
but no laser cutter. Garcia, fix your shit.
Oh, Jesus. You disappoint us.
So much disappoint. So Wonder
Go to your
Woman.
room. Ooh.
Before we get into like more spoilery content, we'll just go on vague feels and teaserify everybody that hasn't seen it yet. So general consensus, thought it was phenomenal. Except I got gripes with the third act, but we'll get to that.
I didn't even break that shit into acts. It's a movie to me, start
Yeah.
to finish.
I got gripes if they weren't good enough to really turn down my rating on the movie.
The movie overall was good, right? But
It's better than good.
it wasn't the best Marvel. Like
It's
I don't
not
see
Marvel
a lot
to
of.
begin
This
with.
wasn't Marvel.
Yeah, it's
Well,
DC.
it's not it doesn't beat Marvel. I guess is what I meant to say.
It beats a lot of Marvel for me.
Yeah,
It
had
so there's eras and
Well,
we're in the
Are we in spoilers yet?
No.
Or no. Okay.
No, I'm saying there's eras and
Okay.
and we're in the post Heath Ledger era right now.
Oh, eras.
Eras.
Okay.
What'd you think I said?
It was like either a mix of arrows or eras or some.
No.
Okay.
ERA.
Now they know there were arrows in the movie.
Yeah.
Post Heath Ledger.
It was in the trailer.
And honestly, the Heath Ledger, of course I'm going with him instead of the real director, all that kind of stuff. But like that was it was almost an accident. Like that series was like the only thing that kept DC comic book stuff on the map for almost a decade. This is the strongest thing to come out since that version of Batman for me. I was kind of wondering how it was going to go. I've had my thoughts on how is their next one going to be, the big matchup. Their Avengers, what's that one they're doing?
Justice League.
Justice League.
I was like, this very well could make or break Justice League for me.
Yeah.
You can rewind and listen to my Batfleck rants and how I don't think he's a good Batman. He's a great douchebag millionaire because but I don't think he plays a great Batman. Jason Momoa going to be in the movie. I'm a big fan, so I already had that as a plus. After watching Wonder Woman, they can fuck up everything else that they want. Like I'm not happy with who they're putting for the Flash. I'd rather the kid from the show doing it. But there's enough to anchor between my love for Jason Momoa and now the Wonder Woman character that they can carry that movie. So I'm much more optimistic now about that movie.
The problem I see, and this is where I think it's going to go, is those characters are, well, I guess Wonder Woman is established and Batman's established, right? But they have a lot more like origin stories they haven't done before this movie comes out. And I'm afraid that they're going to try to jam all of that in that movie.
They will. But
I don't like that.
I kind of see Gal Gadot being the Robert Downey Jr. of this universe. I think she's going to be the glue that holds everything together.
I actually got, and I can see where you're coming from on that. I got a very, very, very Captain America feel for the movie itself. Kind of the Winter Soldier one where they're the Nazis and all that. Because of the
pretty much
era
was that movie
they went into. But
I mean, look, let's face it,
competes with it.
It's a little bit of a spoilery kind of thing, but I believe it took. If you're going to rip anything off, I think it took the best elements from Thor and Captain America and put them into one cohesive story to kind of go through the origin of Wonder Woman and kind of bring her into now. They time hop a little bit, but you kind of get a sense of who the character is without really having to deal with a whole lot of backstory.
I'll insert a female opinion because I quizzed.
You got to do it in your female voice.
I quizzed prior to coming, and one of the comments after watching the movie was close to what you just said.
Yeah.
It wasn't that the best elements were taken from both of those, because I'm fairly certain she's got a crush on Thor. And but the comparison of part of one and part of the other come together to make her, and it really is kind of the more intriguing parts of each. Up until now, we've had very little of, we can talk about Thor all we want. We've had very little at his homeworld.
Yeah.
There's been some there. Of course, her homeworld is kind of Earth.
There was, I think just as much of her world that was in this movie.
Well, I mean,
is how much would have been in the Thor movies, because they had that whole.
Well, we're talking, when you get to the Thor movies, these are massively like huge, epic, futuristic, science equals magic kind of stuff. Whereas
there's a lot of depth you can go there to where, like, the first Thor movie, you didn't even have to come to Earth.
Yeah, exactly. And for being Earth only, because that's the way this one is. If you don't know, spoiler, she doesn't come from another planet, like all the other superheroes. But I thought they did a good job with it. I'm gonna watch it again.
Yeah,
hopefully in the theater. I went and saw it Silverado, and it, like, I went to that one with a new sound where it makes you feel it, and I felt it.
Silverado's made some big improvements.
Yeah, I was happy.
Yeah.
So there were two things that I thought two things that just annoyed me about the movie. One, where the hell was she jumping at the end? That didn't make sense.
Yeah, I got the text from you. You're like, where is she jumping? And I was like, it was completely out of context because it was like the next day. I'm like, what are you babbling about? Who's jumping at what?
And then the one thing that I thought, it's kind of ironic, but like, she's supposed to be this, like, I'm a strong woman character. Right?
She was pretty strong. She threw it.
The thing that I think is where did she get that from? Her emotions. Like, I was like, oh, feminism, here we go.
We riffed on that a little bit, and it was kind of funny.
I thought the element of that was very, very light in the movie. I mean...
Wait, repeat that again?
I thought the element of the feminism kind of thing, that, that undertone was not... It was not put to the forefront.
It was well written.
It was
really
blended and balanced into it. Because, I mean, that's one of those things you were kind of expecting. And, of course, I went with people that had seen it a few times.
Yeah.
Quite a few females. And, like, every time they had to get out to go to the bathroom, they gave the little Wonder Woman embrace. It was, they really loved it. And that's why we ended up going with them. And so it was good. But it didn't hit you over the head with it.
Yeah.
And I was really hoping they didn't. Just because,
well, even then you
can't spend a lot of time. You got a lot of content to cover in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Well, no,
so that's your battles.
That's the thought I was. That's what my point is you didn't have that, like, pushed at you, right?
Yeah.
But then they throw in the added thing of she learns, like, how to use her powers at high emotional.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, like, it's like, she's like emergency.
But that's something that inside of a lot of just magic lore in general.
Yeah.
Is you get put baby in a corner, baby fights back.
Yeah, it's
You
like,
know?
oh, I didn't know I couldn't do that.
Oh,
Well, and it ties to another movie we can't talk about because Chad hasn't seen it yet. But
I haven't seen it either.
Oh, you hadn't?
Nope.
Okay, so I'll just.
For once, you've seen something we haven't.
Y'all need to go see it.
I don't know if it's in theaters anymore.
That's why I went Tuesday because Wednesday's list wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, it's definitely worth a watch.
My biggest question after the movie. Are we going into like spoiler time now?
Yeah, we can go to spoiler time.
Spoiler
So
We need a button for spoiler time.
spoilers start right now. Get it. Top.
So
You
the
were
biggest
warned.
thing for me was all right. So I'm Zeus, right? And I got was it Ares that was the bad guy?
Yep.
What was
Yeah.
So
He's
like
God of War. Did you not watch Xena?
That's what I thought you said. I got mixed up when you were talking about eras, and I was like, wait a second, wait.
Oh, okay, I get it now. But like there's a battle, killed other gods, but I have enough power to make another god, but I can't go deal with this shit on my own.
Isn't that the crux of almost every religion?
It is, but I'm not paying like $12 to go to church. I'm watching a goddamn movie. That was my only thing. Is like this whole premise. Like I'm making a god. Like we don't know if the clay story was real or not.
Technically,
We just know she. I mean, she was created by Zeus.
Yes.
We don't know if in this mythos if she was fathered. If Zeus had some little fun time with something, or if the story about the clay and lightning, all that kind of stuff is true. But it's like,
Or they
if
could
you
be
can
their
impart
foreplay.
enough power to
Only one person can talk at a time.
I know. It's just
That's
my
your warning.
commenting. No, I do what I want.
If you can impart enough power to create a being that can kill the bad thing, why didn't you just kill the bad thing on your own?
You went to church. I don't like you grew up. How do you?
He no longer had enough emotion.
Right? But other than that, like other than the entire movie not having to be written if Zeus was a real man, like
Yeah, he was a
boom.
god.
Like I thought it was good. And dude, I walked away from that movie with a crush on the Wonder Woman character.
Yeah. So let's address Gal Gadot because that's apparently how you actually pronounce her name.
Yes.
So I heard nothing but gripes from a lot of fanboys and fangirls about how she didn't fit the Amazon look. She wasn't built enough, beefy enough. She's a slender. She's a supermodel. Watch this movie if you have any doubts, especially after seeing the other Amazons that they cast, which were phenomenal.
Well, in names, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like really, like, and she, I think she's hot. Like, I think the main character chick is really hot. She's not exactly my type. Usually, I like them a little bit shorter, a little smaller. But they gave her the Tom Cruise treatment, and there was a lot of that like up angle where there's a lot of like Amazonian. I got legs on me kind of angles and stuff, which made her look bigger. But yeah, dude, they didn't pick any other character from her little invisible island that was just like slap you in the face gorgeous. It was all just very realistic.
Well, it was actually is a lot of MMA fighters.
Yeah.
You had a lot of actual fighters.
Yeah.
But even then, like you had Robin Wright, Connie Nielsen. I don't want to get her name wrong. That played Hippolyta. These names are
I
difficult.
recognized like 4 or 5 of the Amazonians, and I was quite surprised. I mean, you may think about it as a female actress, you're like, I get to be an Amazonian in the big Wonder Woman movie, like.
But
maybe
when I
they're
saw
reaching out for it, but
it was almost like a reveal. Like I went into this not having looked at IMDb, not knowing the full cast or anything else. Just
Me
saw
too.
one of the trailers, and then you see Robin Wright pop up, and it's like, oh, they get to play with Robin Wright for the entirety of this series of movies. And spoilers. She dies, but in such an epic, badass way.
And dude, them bitches got everything on Arrow. Fuck Arrow.
Yeah.
They can't do nothing compared to these Amazonian chicks. Like, these are like, you have elf archers in Lord of the Rings and in The Hobbit and stuff, and these bitches be like, nah, dog, I got you. Like
the flip with the 3 arrows.
That was
such a sick shot.
Shield. I love
Everything
that part.
about that fight sequence was so well done,
Yep.
and it was balanced. It was balanced because you had archers, even with mythological crazy powers, versus modern weapons.
Oh yeah, machine guns, dog.
And it was a very balanced fight. It was realistic.
Well, it
that way.
really wasn't balanced. It took a minute for them to realize there's speeding bullets mowing us down right now, and then they went all nimbly wimbly, and guess what? You can't hit me anymore.
Yeah, they
the only thing
adapted really quick.
The only thing I wish they would have done special effect wise was I really wish the lasso of truth would have been a little more
realistic.
Well, I mean, it got used, but it was like Indiana Jones used, not like it's a magical whip. Like some of the effects I've seen on Flash and some on Arrow and stuff like that. Like I was like, let's see what they're doing with like the lasso of truth. You know, like it's her big thing, and it just kind of it played a side role.
Yeah, it was more a comedy relief kind of bit.
Yeah, I was
when it was used as a weapon, I thought those scenes were great, but it just stood out in the frame so much that it didn't look like it was really grafted well into the fight sequences. It just seemed to float on top of the. It's
and magical.
It's magical,
and that's what actually I liked about it, because it reminded me of the old Justice League cartoon. You always had the whip that just like stood out when she used it. It was brighter than everything else on the screen.
But I don't want to see that in a movie, and it's the same thing with like all.
Gave me good feels.
One of the biggest gripes I have with the movie was the CGI, and there's so much of it in there that it's clear you can see that some of the backgrounds, some of the ground that they're walking on is computer generated.
Yeah.
And it didn't blend well into me. The little bit of Lord of the Rings that I've seen from the Weta special effects sequences, where they show you, oh, by the way, every bit of foliage in this shot is computer generated, and you don't get a sense for it at all.
You're like, I'm gonna hike that trail. I'm gonna see that tree.
Yeah. And the way that as we've gone ahead in CGI, it just seems to get less and less. The illusion's not there enough.
See, I have a tipping point with CGI. And that tipping point is the 300. And this was below the 300 CGI level for me. Like, there's ridiculous, almost like Sin City type of a feel to the 300 with the CGI. And this didn't get that bad.
Well, that's the carryover from, I've dubbed it the Snyder Effect. It's Bayhem for this. But the Snyder Effect, we'll get into Act 3 and jump back into other things. But the thing that I don't like about the Snyder Effect is... and it seems to be a thing they're moving forward with now in all the DC movies, regardless if Snyder's involved or not, because it's kind of like their signature look now, is to put a surreal, unintelligible background with your hero shot and insane amounts of slow motion that just drag the movie on forever, and this weird blend of visuals that they look glossy. They'd be great as a poster, but in a movie, it takes me out of the element of the whole thing. And we go back and forth between this, like, we're in a realistic setting, but all of a sudden, hero shot and very blurred background. You can't tell what's happening, and then...
Well, they're walking a fine line because they have to make that hero stand out, so they have to try to do something, and maybe the Snyder Effect's not the best way to go with it.
Well, the hero... So, I mean, one of the things that was really cool to see in the film was you didn't see the armor until, way later in the whole thing. And when she comes out of the pit to go into no man's land, you see the armor revealed. There wasn't anything special effects wise. You see the standard
that
shot background. It wasn't a CGI imposed background as far as I could tell.
It didn't look it, no.
It looked like it was real shot in the setting, and it stood out every bit that you needed it to. It was a huge impact.
Well, and I think that's slightly because they didn't need the contrast you would have on something like, say, Thor's bright, shiny, with the flowing cape and all that.
You got the grim World War I background.
Dude, she fit the era there. I mean, she had faded colored looking leather. You know, like it's not going to protect her from nothing, but she don't need it.
Yeah.
You know?
But like it on the background. I mean, this is like when we start to get into like film nerd kind of shit with like composition of shots and things like that. You have a very grim gray palette in the background, and all of a sudden that red and gold and everything just comes out of that pit, and it stands out. And it's like that was a well framed shot. That was such a great shot when she finally came out of the pit.
And another question from the female row was do you think she could carry a movie on her own?
Yeah.
And
after this, there's no doubt.
And after this, I mean, she had a good surrounding cast.
Had a lot of help, yes.
But like I walked away and I was like, this girl, she's on that map right there now.
Yeah.
Like this character has come alive. It's got someone driving it, and it wasn't overdone. It wasn't underdone. It was a solid movie. And
she can carry a movie better than Hemsworth can carry one on his own.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that that the way that they did that, where they had essentially two heroes in this movie, right?
Yeah.
Because they really did the way that they used Star Trek boy
Chris Pine
was he was a hero in his own right for this movie.
Yeah.
But I think that was perfect because she was just learning of her abilities, right?
Yeah.
So it allowed her to do the origin story while you got a movie.
I mean, it was a
And
live-action origin versus a go back in time kind of origin.
So you had that other set of heroes that, were going on, showing that humans can be good, essentially, right? The whole point of comics in a lot of ways. You have that, and then she's uprising, gives her the time to learn it and go through the steps.
He played it so well, and the two of them, those two characters played so well off of each other. That scene where you first get their first interaction, and she goes, "Are you a man?" And he goes, just really calmly, just goes, "Don't I look like one?"
Yeah.
Like,
and then he's like, "I'm above average," Yeah. I think the casting of him, and he's almost getting to the point to where I'd like to see a movie without him in it.
Yeah,
because he's in a lot of different movies. But he
but
fits
everything
so well.
he's in, he's so good at.
And that was the thing on this one. Like them two together, like this movie. He gave her a little bit of help in developing the character.
Yeah.
And really, that jump at the very end was what she's going to, like, moving to the next movie. Like, I got this. You know, like, it's the only way it
was
really
a
fits.
cheesy, horrible jump. Like, that's the, and I just turned to Kim and was like, where's she going?
Well, and I think that's,
I'm like,
I think that's
it's done.
almost the there is more to come almost statement towards the end.
Yeah.
Because, you had a lot of that in Superman. In a lot of those kind of old shows where it's like
he'd
he would
always
just jump for no reason and
well, he wouldn't jump, he'd fly.
But
different.
We don't
now
want to go into the logistics.
there's one thing that also annoyed me. So they showed up on the little protected island, right? Because they just went through the force field thing. But they're like, if you leave, you can't come back. They just came back. Like,
well, I have a couple of thoughts about
put
that.
a GPS thing down. You know where it's at.
Hey, is that the Bermuda Triangle? Because that'd be hilarious.
It's like Amelia Earhart just hanging around that somewhere.
I don't think it was said you can't come back. I think a lot of people took it that way. I think it very well may have been you may not find your way back.
Yeah.
And that's because she knew where that character was going to go. And after it realizes what that character is going to mean to the planet, to Earth, and to just the way that character felt on needing to help stuff that you wouldn't make a way back home.
Yeah.
Or I like to think
that's a good read. I like that
island
read.
moves and you don't know where it's at.
It's just a cruise ship.
Yeah,
it's a cruise island.
See, I like that theory, but I do like if they would have said it like that, you may not
That's
find
the
your
way
way
I
back.
got it.
If they would have said that though, that would have been like a bigger boom for me, right? It would have made that relationship between them better, in my opinion.
It's
just
it's the word. It's the word can't versus won't versus you may not. That kind of a
place.
point.
They put a lot of thought in that, and that very well may have been an actor changing something at the end because of the way it rolled off their tongue and stuff. And sometimes we're making 2-hour-long conversations about the difference between can't and won't.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, man, I just read it wrong.
But it's like the magic of Hollywood. It's like, we're going to roll forward like that one word didn't happen. And you can roll into the second one like,
I want to spoil y'all on Flash.
Okay.
Have y'all know who the bad guy was this season?
I haven't seen like the last 2 seasons.
No, I took a big gap and I haven't finished like the last 5.
It was Flash. It was a time apparition he created.
I figured as much.
And Savitar, early on, 4 or 5 episodes before the season ended, he made a comment that said, "I am the future Flash." And there was debates on whether the closed caption guy got it right, and there's a comma there, or there's not a comma there. And that just shows that one fucking character can make that big of a difference. And the way an actor says something, and like those kind of things, like we burrow down and we're like, no, it's this, no, it's that. It's hilarious that seriously a comma had Reddit divided, and we got very different reads off of that one phrase.
Yeah, I got that's stupid. Nope, they found it. The Germans can find it. She can find it.
Right. Well, I mean, she didn't have a compass, and you need a compass to get back there.
She has a lasso of truth. She just gets someone with a compass. Says, "What direction am I going?"
Now back to Wonder Woman. The villains.
When did you know it was him?
I didn't really know until the third act really kicked off, and it's like, oh, okay. But I didn't like the way they played it out. I honestly didn't, because when you get to the big bad and you've got Mustache, as the big bad, I was like, I don't buy this dude. This dude doesn't Ludendorff was more terrifying than the actual big bad at the end.
And I think that's the misdirection of it. And I knew it wasn't going to be him when she was feeding him something and we got to see his insides.
Yeah.
Like, I knew it wasn't him at that point. And just, it was funny because Kristen went to the bathroom about the same time they're in that bar scene. And she came back quickly. You know, you run when you're in the middle of a movie. And she's like, so what I miss? And I was like, well, that guy right there has a hard-on for her and is scared for her at the same time. And trust me, I know that exact same feeling. She threw someone across the room, and that dude's going to help. And I said it pretty much just like that. Get her up to date in 5 to 10 seconds.
Yeah.
As soon as I said it out loud and how quickly he came to aid and how easy it was for them to go through with the rest of that plan, I'm like, fuck, it's him.
Yeah.
Like, that just saying it again in my mind once, the simplicity of how it happened and how just easy it was, I'm like, yeah.
I would have liked, in my head, I composed it a little bit differently later on. Since he's the god of war, I would have really loved to have seen him, that sequence where they're in the guard tower and you're seeing his reflections and they're explaining the big bad. All those reflections, I would have loved to have to have seen it played out, where you see him go through all the different changes of he is that guy in the war room, he is this other guy, he is everybody, every warmonger that you've seen in the film so far. He is all war. He is everything.
It'd be great if one of those things you see in the mirror, he's buying guns from Nicolas Cage.
But I would have loved to have seen a more imposing shocker of a thing, a more imposing figure, a bigger actor.
Well, and you, unfortunately, don't watch the same things I watch. That guy's a pretty big actor.
I'm familiar with his background, yes. But in terms of
he's not the bad guy.
In terms of the god of fucking war.
He's not even Voldemort.
Yeah, I'm not feeling him. I'm not feeling him, you know?
And I knew it was going to be one of those two. And the way the misdirection, because I feel that the guy that wasn't the big bad was more of someone you would want to cast for the big bad than who it ended up being.
Yeah. I would like to have a character with like an actor with more just weight behind him.
Yeah, I can see that.
To carry that, you know.
But
almost like if you flipped it around and had Danny Huston play, or Houston, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but had that dude play the actual roles.
I
he was Stryker and Wolverine and shit, so you can't really.
But for me, I think it's really because the way the God of War would have to have adapted to today for that, or to the 50s. Well, this was 60s, 50s for this one.
I think 50s.
I get World War One.
This one is one. Civil Wars are.
So you're going back to the 30s.
Okay, so 30s and okay, that far back. I'm confused now because they're
both.
Wait,
no,
fighting.
I'm sorry, no, dude, history fail. The teens.
Teens?
Yeah,
that was that far back. Because I get confused with them because they're both fighting Nazis and it's two separate wars between Captain America and Wonder Woman now.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of confusion. We looked it up in the car on the way home just to make sure it wasn't the same.
Well, not
stuff.
Nazis, because the Nazi history that hadn't come up yet, but still Germany, you know.
They're almost Nazis. Like they were Nazis without Hitler.
It's like you're pre-cum Nazis.
So I think that's one thing for us, for me and the point of view I have from a woman. Is it was very easy to tell because I turn and go, he's from Harry Potter, and she goes, he's the villain, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
And you know, for people that don't, not all of the people who watch comic book movies watch Harry Potter or The Lord of the Rings.
I've never seen any of the Harry Potters.
That's a fantasy side of things, whereas this is fantasy action. Some common mythos in the back of some. So I was wondering if that was why they went the route they did, because you know Stryker from X-Men and all that, you have standing next to someone from Harry Potter, and everyone's narrowing it down to one of these two dudes are going to be bad, and one of them is already the bad guy. You already associate him with bad people, so I think they kind of tried to pull one over on people and. They take for granted how smart their fans are. Yeah. Because people spent more time researching this movie before watching it in most cases. They waited in line longer than the movie.
Mistake, man. Don't research movies. Go watch it.
Go watch it, enjoy it, and then look it up after.
The only research on this movie I did was while I was sitting there with the credits going, is there a scene after the movie? That's the only
There is not.
Nope.
And theaters are getting better about that. Actually, if there's not an end scene, they kick the lights up. If
Yeah.
there is something there, they keep the lights down.
However, if there's 5 of them, they still kick them up, and people leave, and I'm like, I googled it.
the people I was with, it was their second time watching it, so they're like, "Yeah, get up. There's nothing here." So
Yeah.
I was good there.
What's her name? Dr. Maru.
Mhm.
Such an imposing, just evil.
Yeah, like almost sexy, sinister, but not quite.
Just
Like-
so crazy.
Yeah,
I want to know her
villain.
backstory.
Yeah.
So
she
you-
was a very interesting, like, tertiary villain in the whole
You
thing.
know, I felt more afraid of her and her character than I did her equate in the Captain America, which I would be the guy
Yeah.
that makes himself the computer.
Yeah.
Would be her the equivalent to. He's making that kind of stuff, and like that dude don't scare me. He's a little man.
Yeah.
Like this woman, she could kill me easy,
Yeah.
and she wouldn't think twice about it. And then she'd
might
kill
be able to-
everyone else.
That
and
scene
laugh.
where they gas the whole room
Yeah, like-
and just toss in the one gas mask, and she just watches
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man,
Yeah.
she was a bigger villain almost than than the villain was.
Yeah, at the end.
Well, and she scares me more because like she's like, oh, by the way, just breathe this and you're like strong, and I'm just like, she could create the Hulk. Like that.
Yeah,
I was like, that's an evil Bruce Banner female.
Just like sniff this Hulk smelling salts, you'll be good.
Yeah, it's like I was like, those are glowy too.
But she was so every shot of her, every second she was on screen, it was powerful. That scene meant something. She stole every scene she was in and did a fantastic job of it.
I thought,
And did it with half her face hidden.
Oh yeah, I thought the banter between the secretary and Wonder Woman was pretty entertaining.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward. So I know I'm not in common company here. I'm looking forward to the demise of Harley Quinn's at cons. I'm so looking forward to the Wonder Woman's with the blue dress and just the shield and the sword
I really
okay
thought
with that.
with the hat and everything.
I thought they modernized the costume for apparently the 19 teens
Yeah.
very, very well. If I had to choose, not me wearing it, just before you get that mental image.
We talking about the actual armor, the
Yeah,
Wonder Woman armor.
her Wonder Woman, the outfit, the faded kind of.
Well,
leather
I don't
thing.
think it wasn't dated to the teens. It wasn't dated to that era. It was
Amazon.
just this is the armor. This is it.
Like I think
Slight difference from the Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
almost identical.
But I thought it did much better than the Captain America Winter Soldier armor, where he has to go steal it from the museum.
Yeah.
And I was like, they really went way more comic booky with him
Yeah.
than they did with her. And I appreciate whatever cameraman or director changed the angle of the superhero pose jump downs. They didn't show anything off, but like most of the time you get a straight up look with a guy coming down, and they changed that side angle for her so you could see the whole costume kind of flail as she comes down, and it seemed like it was a much more impactful statement than when you just have
the typical like we're gonna land, make a crater pose, that
Yeah.
thing.
But they took advantage of who the character was, and they're like, we're going to show her from the side so you get a little leg. But I thought like it actually added a little more than just the leg to it. Like the angles of those superhero jumps were nice. Like it.
Now I don't know if I mentioned before. So there's a meme about the banquet scene where she's in her little dress with her sword. And the meme shows that like the sword is
How the
like
hell
held
does
by
no
her
one
butt cheeks.
spot? How the hell does no one spot a sword? Just put.
Well, not
hey.
just that, but like you see her like walking away and she's being all beautiful because she's Wonder Woman. You're like, that sword is not visible. Like you just
you
see
see
this.
the handle.
That is in her cheeks. Those are cheeks of steel that can hold a sword without getting cut. I'm presuming they didn't get cut.
Did you do any research on her after the movie?
What about?
Why it was banned in certain countries? The movie was banned.
Well, I know she's Israeli, so some countries took opposition to that.
Well, do you know why they took opposition to that?
I'm expecting probably the Gaza, Palestine, all that conflict.
Apparently,
Syria was one of them, wasn't
I
it?
think so, but she was in their military and was known for torturing people to get information. So apparently,
She was an athletic trainer in the military.
that's I'm reading internet.
Maybe
Take with a grain of
maybe
salt.
that's what her title was.
So she won Miss Israeli or Miss Israel when she was 18. You're Israeli, so it's compulsory service. You have to go into the military. She served 2 years, and she was a combat trainer, which just meant she was a fitness trainer.
Oh, really? That's it?
Yeah.
Well, then rumors are incorrect on the internet.
She did not see combat.
Oh. I've heard bad things about her.
She did not see combat?
Yeah, there's a lot of...
As far as from what I read on the official bio and everything else, she did not see combat.
Well, I'm pretty sure in the official bio it's not going to be like, she tortured people.
Well, she was a teen beauty queen.
Yeah.
That's the one you're not going to expect.
Well, they bring torture.
I'm leaving this alone. I like the character too much.
I walked away with a smile. I thought it was a good movie.
It's a fantastic film.
If you haven't seen it, go see it.
Go
see it.
My only gripes the third act and the combat scene. I didn't like the slow-mo. I didn't like the big bad having to explain fucking literally everything at the end. It was a very Snydery Batman versus Superman battle third act kind of thing. But I like that we got to bounce out of that enough with Chris Pine and his whole section of the third act. We got to bounce in and out of that whole thing, so it just didn't kind of drone on like it did in Batman versus Superman.
And the flashback kind of stuff wasn't bad that they pulled off, and a lot of the Arrow effect, where half the show is not.
Yeah,
now.
well, you give it away. I mean, we know
really
she's not going to
half,
die.
though.
We know nothing's bad is going to happen. So you kind of you suspend that whole thing right off the bat because it's like, oh, we're in modern times right now, and then we go back to the teens, and then we come back and end the whole movie in modern times, and then bounce out or apparently jump out.
But see, they play that very well though, because like they, you can tell that he's the reason that she wants that picture even at the beginning, right? So you don't know what happens. Does he die of old age? I mean, it's a long time, and then they kind of something bad does happen that affects her, like a lot, right? So I think they did that very well.
Oh, and I'm glad we didn't have to see that scene after the credits because Marvel would have done that to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and it was great that in now times all we saw was like her open a briefcase and see a picture and then like close the briefcase.
Yeah. They just showed the angle, so she didn't have the sword between her butt cheeks. I saw that. She learned that was necessary.
I like that we got to see this by itself without having to see. I mean, we got the note from Bruce Wayne, so we understand its continuity. But we didn't get a random shot of Aquaman. We didn't get a random shot of Flash, and it's like, okay, just let this be its own thing.
And it was so.
It's a great standalone. You can watch it without having watched any other DC films up to this point.
If you haven't, watch it because it's the best one.
Yeah,
like
post
Nolan Batman.
Mm-hmm.
This is the next one for me.
Yeah.
And I actually liked the first Superman movie, but just she carries a movie much better than that Superman dude does.
It makes me so the way they had Chris Pine play this role and have him be her Peggy Carter, if you will. I liked this method of the human that teaches the super being like what it's like to be human. I like the way they handled this so much better than they handled Lois Lane.
Oh yeah,
they let me down big time on Lois Lane.
Terry Hatcher.
Like no, she's not a weakling that has to be saved. She's the one that teaches Soups that they're not all weaklings and she can handle her own shit.
Well, and they hit that really early because like they went like the first time they get away, back to where they're being attacked, and she's all like bullet block, and he's like, "What else you got?" He's like, "I'm gonna depend on you because them fuckers, So I was like, he respected the character.
Well, and he started. He's
like, "No, I've already seen you do some shit.
I got this," and she's like, "No, you don't." And he's like, "Oh no, you got it. It's good." I'm okay
so
with this.
can we get to the controversy because there was one meme that I read that it was. They said something along the lines of, if you dislike Ghostbusters, it was because you just can't handle a female-driven movie or whatever like that. But like, no, I like a good movie that's written well and well balanced, and I appreciated the fact that they didn't make Chris Pine the bumbling macho idiot, and it was like a very well balanced role for each.
Yeah, it was. He can play that bumbling idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
he can play the brilliant.
That tongue.
He can do it all. He can do it. He's got a much wider range than I expected him to have.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, he's going to be a niche guy. We'll see how it goes. And then it's like,
holy crap.
Yeah, he's
It
got
makes
game.
me eager to see both of them in other films going forward, and to read that that Gal Gadot almost quit acting before Wonder Woman.
Really?
Yeah, she was almost done. She went back home and she got a call and they were like, "Can you come in for this screen test?" And they wouldn't tell her what it was. It just kept coming. Like, she was back at home and she's like, "No, I don't think I want to take this role." And it's like, "Do you know what the role is? Did they tell you what it was?" And she's like, "Nah." And so she's like, "Well, come back for another audition." And so she came back and they revealed what it was.
Like, here, hold these bracers with the W's on them.
Yeah.
and go do this.
Are you getting the picture now?
Hold this CGI whip.
Yeah.
Because her Wonder Woman, you got it now.
How do you feel with a shield in your hand?
Her resume is really not that deep.
No.
It's very recent. Fast and Furious. You got the Fast and Furious films, which are pretty much like among the only things she's done before Wonder Woman. Keeping Up with the Joneses, which was hilarious. Very great comedy. Her and the show with the people
This is very
that they
very
had.
descriptive.
It was in cable, and they had said, "We're going to do stuff."
Oh, this is awesome.
Mad Men. That guy.
Okay.
That guy. He played her husband in Keeping Up with the Joneses. Both of those hilarious in that film. Criminal, which I don't think I've ever heard of.
Well, a lot. The
Triple
same
Nine,
thing-
I'd heard of, hadn't watched it, but everything else was Israeli films.
But the same can be said for Superman, for Henry.
Yeah.
Like, I went back, I'm looking at his IMDb now, and it's like, I saw him on the Tudors in that TV series for a little bit.
Yeah.
He wasn't Superman on that show. He started pumping some iron, but I go back and it's like, this dude was relatively unknown too. And then you go look at some of the big dudes for the other side of the pond too, and a lot of those guys, Chris Hemsworth wasn't that big before he got that role. So I think the casting, they did good with it, like all around. I mean, I would not have expected her to be the lead and to carry that movie. She did.
Yeah.
Pine was more, like you said, more than just the comedic bumbling idiot on the side. He had a point. The two primary bad guys were well-established actors, and they played
even the side cast, Simon Pegg and everything else.
All those. Yeah, it's like
they all did a great job.
Well done, kudos across the board.
And it's funny that you see like these giant superhero franchises being a springboard for some of these actors to get into other more serious film. Like Chris Hemsworth was Thor, and then he went off and did Rush and did a fucking phenomenal job.
He did the remake of Wolverines too, right?
Yeah.
I think he was the older brother.
Red Dawn.
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah.
Well, no, I think that's what they called the new
Battleship. Don't forget that one.
Red Dawn was acceptable. Battleship was just how far are you going to fall, dude?
So, have y'all seen Thor Ragnarok trailer yet?
Yes.
And
they are.
Do y'all get a Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh
feel?
yeah, God, they're leaning so hard on that.
But I mean,
And
realistically, his storyline comes closer to the Guardian side of things than it should anything on Earth.
For sure, but now it's gonna be like we need to shoehorn him into that kind of a story.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Hulk from that one. Honestly, I want to see how he interacts.
I wonder if it's just a cameo though.
The scene in the trailer.
Yeah,
so
he's supposed to be a primary.
Oh,
so we're checking out on Wonder Woman now. We've said all we're going to say on that. But the
we'll
trailer,
talk about it again.
We'll talk. Well, yeah, as we go forward, I'm sure we'll get other people in here that want to talk about it. But Thor, the trailer where he sees the Hulk and he's like, "What's his line?"
I know
What's his
him
second
from
line?
work.
It's like, I know him from work.
And then he's
Hilarious.
like, "Uh-oh." And then they start running each other.
Well, if we're going to talk about trailers, Blade Runner.
I haven't seen it
I
yet.
haven't seen it yet.
It wasn't on the trailer for Wonder Woman for y'all?
No.
Oh, it was.
Oh no, maybe it was.
It wasn't for me.
It was for me. Like Blade Runner was the big premiere, like preview for that.
Huh.
I'm looking forward to it.
Looks good. Looks like it could be good.
I think I'm gonna like it quite a bit. So
I've
I need to go
heard-
watch the old one again. Get ready for it.
I've heard people talk about it. I haven't seen it yet, so I'll watch it.
Yeah, it took me a second to realize what it was. I mean, I've known the movie was going to come out. I just hadn't seen anything on it yet, and I was like, ooh, Blade Runner, and I looked around and like it was not even a full theater. It was Thursday night last week when I went and saw it, But that one got a really good fan reaction. So
Yeah.
I'm
Spider-Man: Homecoming.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing the kid play the Spider-Man. I think he's going to do a good job. I don't want to see. I hate that they felt they had to shoehorn Robert Downey Jr. and probably a few other Avengers into the movie to sell him. I think he can do it well.
I don't think they're going to be a primary because I already got part of the storyline based off of the trailer I saw.
Yeah.
Most of
Essentially-
the story's already been released.
Essentially, Stark shows up and was like, "You're putting yourself in danger. Give me the suit." And then you
You
don't
can
see
see-
him.
yeah.
You don't see him again until the end when he's like, "Hey, you've done good in your hoodie. Here's the suit back. You look ridiculous." That's going to be. He's
I'm
gonna
hoping
be
that's
there
it.
beginning and end.
I'm hoping that's
From
it.
what I've read on the internet, which is not always right, they did more time together shooting the commercials for the playoffs than they did screen time together for the movie. And I don't know if you caught a lot of that on the NBA playoffs. It was pushed heavily
Yeah.
by that duo for Spider-Man: Homecoming. So I think he's really more involved in advertising than he is in the movie itself. I mean, he's going to have the Spidey suit. I mean, he is the guy behind the suit.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Iron Man's known for is the suits.
And if you haven't seen it, yet, E3 is going on this week as well.
Yeah.
The gameplay footage of the Spider-Man video game looks outstanding.
Yeah, I saw.
It does.
I saw that and I was like,
I was a big fan of the Spider-Man game on Xbox back in the day. I think I'm gonna have to get this one.
I don't play the consoles, but
I don't play many of
good.
I don't play many video games. I think I maybe buy one every year and a half to 2 years.
if you can go GTA style with it, like where you just like you're him in the city and you go.
You
and
could in the
it's-
first one.
Well, yeah, but
So I think they're gonna
but
keep
they,
that.
They had like the invisible walls and shit that annoyed me.
Well, it was an island.
I found walls.
I don't remember any walls. I remember there being an island that if you went in the water, you died.
There
There was a
were-
way to glitch it and like web swing to the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, there were a couple of walls that I ran into, and then there was like that one building you could never get to the top of.
There's walls you run into in GTA.
Well, yeah, but there's guns.
And that's interesting because
In Spider-Man, you could swing, pick up somebody, swing as high as you can, and then drop them. And that was way more. That was way more fun than guns.
if you go to the Justice League IMDb page and it has the cast sorted by IMDb star meter, she's on the top. She like ranked on the biggest star right now. Obviously, her movie just came out.
Yeah.
But she's ahead of Robin Wright, who is supposed to be in here. Interesting.
In the superhero thing?
In Justice League, she's casted. Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe it's like a flashback like Kevin Costner and stuff.
It very well could be. And then it's got Connie Nielsen as the next hottest one at the moment, the star meter, and then below that, Jason Momoa. So Superman's like 6 down, and Ben Affleck's below him, and then Amy Adams below that.
I think that's deserved.
The buzz right now. I mean, yeah, it's a topic of conversation because it's the biggest movie out right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm okay with it.
Having Momoa as Aquaman to sort of save the legendary lamest character.
Dude, and I mean, I've stood next to the man and hung out with the man for a good amount of time, and he's bigger,
massive,
a lot bigger. Like
when
I'm
you see
watching
him-
Stargate Atlantis right now.
And you're like,
And
oh, he's
you
not
know,
that
I mean,
big.
we hung out with him for a good 2 hours that one night. I was on stage. I mean, we spent time with the guy.
Yeah, I mean, we ran
Like-
into him a couple of times because he was like, "Hey, the beer guys."
Yeah,
And I'm just like, and this is me going, "Yeah."
he
like-
was massive then, but like watching him as Aquaman, I'm like, dude, Aquaman may be for real this time.
Jason
he's
Momoa,
watching-
6'4".
Well, I mean, like,
No, he's.
Oh yeah, he's a big old dude. Yeah,
There's
he's
no way he's 6'4".
it's-
He must have been wearing some thick boots because I was looking up.
Google says 6'4".
Oh, that's my height, and I had to look up.
I don't think you're 6'4".
That's what the doctors say.
I think your doctor lies.
yeah.
Either that or you're wearing some thick shoes.
No, they do the little like flip flop thingies.
You do the kind of mini hover, the calf hover.
I'm really hoping the Crow goes through with Momoa. I'm hoping.
It could be good. It could be good. Did you
Ooh,
see the
that could
trailer
be.
for the Dark Tower?
Yes.
McConaughey.
Yes.
That looks.
Dude, he makes me want to
excellent.
drive a goddamn Lincoln. You know, like I want to sit in the back seat talking to myself in the front seat, Matthew McConaughey style.
I like the idea that nothing that makes the commercial is anything they scripted.
Oh,
it's just
no.
him rambling to
Yeah.
himself,
He's
like the chest thump scene in Wolf of Wall Street.
He could seriously like go have Chinese food and slowly read the fucking fortune.
Yeah.
And that's a commercial for Lincoln now.
But did you hear the origin for the chest thump thing in Wolf of Wall Street? That wasn't a part of the movie. He just does that. You okay? You dying?
Oh.
Oh,
Well,
this is bad.
I hear gurgling. I think the drink went down the wrong pipe.
Drank.
Twice. Drank.
Was it bubbly?
Yeah.
You okay?
You're blushing.
You want to call it an end?
Oh no.
You gonna come back? You gonna be
We are rolling up on the time though.
gonna be a survivor? Yeah, we're a little bit over. But yeah, McConaughey. I like the chest thump thing in Wolf of Wall Street. He just does that as a means to kind of focus himself.
Yeah.
So he's just off in the background, just doing this thing.
That's awesome.
And they were like, "We're gonna put that in the movie, man. Like, just do that."
I want to see him as a superhero character. That'd be interesting. I don't know what one. I can't think of one, but you find one of those like ones that no one really knows the comic book and like that he fits and be like,
boop. Who could you throw in the DC universe? Have a McConaughey as Cyclops would be hilarious.
well, it didn't have to be DC. It could be a Marvel that people don't know too much.
Can we maybe go out of the universe? I think if they ever got a Wildcats movie off the ground, he would be an interesting grifter.
Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah. Or put him opposite Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool. Just find something for him in Deadpool.
Make him a villain. Against
the villain, like you don't want to die.
Yeah.
You're like, man, that villain's so cool.
Is it like you have Ryan Reynolds just talking about it and just McConaughey comes up and is like, "You talk too much, Slick."
That would work, definitely.
So that takes us through August. What do we have? The Dark Tower. That's pretty much all I see. And
I think we can just cover
and
trailers
then
next week.
And then It. Stephen King's It looks outstanding.
Not a fan.
I will be watching that one.
What, Clowns?
I know you will. No, those types of movies aren't fun for me.
I like it if it's going to be more suspenseful versus jump scares. We got 20 years in on jump scares. We're done with
the
them.
Jump scares, I'm kind of like done because like I don't need to pay to be scared. Like I don't want to be scared. So
that's not what I'm seeing it for. I mean, it's a great story. It's a great story. The original film was good.
Yeah.
For being a made-for-TV movie, it was good.
Yeah.
It's iconic. So
it is very well known.
But I think we should watch trailers. We'll send each other a list of what we've watched, and I think we can make a show out of it. There's a lot of good stuff coming out this summer.
Maybe we could do. I don't know if we get away with it. Maybe we can do like a non copyright. We'll figure out something. I'm sure we can do something.
Reaction videos.
Maybe live stream. Maybe we can try to live stream. Just we watch movie trailers and probably get taken down by the Fabis on Facebook Live. Get everything locked up.
Haters.
Well, that's it. If you had comments or thoughts on Wonder Woman, write on the Facebook page that no one ever seems to comment on. It'd be great to hear somebody else give an opinion on this. I liked it. Hope you liked it. Hope you like this. Like, subscribe, all those title cards I'm going to put after the show. Do all those things those title cards say. But until next time.